So, I went and saw the FNAF movie too, and I have a few thoughts about the movie that I'll be sharing in this video. And so first, I'm gonna start out with my spoiler-free review. Then later on into the video, I'm gonna get into spoilers. So sit back and enjoy. So I'll say that this movie was way more scary than the first movie. And I really enjoyed it because it actually felt like a Five Nights at Freddy's level of creepiness. Plus, to add on to that, there was a surprising amount of blood and gore in the movie, which, honestly, when you really look back on the Five Nights at Freddy's games, minus the pixelated mini games, there really isn't that much like blood or gore, really. And you guessed it, people end up dying in the film. And it's also just how they died was insanely horrifying. But obviously some of them were blurred out and some of them just weren't shown on camera because they had to keep the PG-13 rating. I also really enjoyed the arc that Vanessa had in the film. The way I see it is that I feel like she was really the only character who actually had character development in the film. And for Mike's character development, I think that the seeds were planted in this film, but they weren't fulfilled yet, so they're probably gonna add more on to his development in the third movie. Which, I think right now, if you ask me, I want them to end it on the third movie. I don't want them to do like a 4, 5, or 6, or especially a security breach movie, because I really enjoyed the first one, and I like this one even better, so I think it could literally be the perfect video game adaptation trilogy. But anyway, I'm kind of getting sidetracked here. Some cons I have about the movie, I think there's really only one con that I have about the movie, and that's, I wish they spent more time at Freddy Fazbear's. But don't get me wrong though, I think all the scenes in the time that were spent there were really good, and I just loved how accurate they were to the second game. And one more thing I'd like to mention again, and just like the first movie, I really enjoyed the design of the animatronics. They are so incredibly accurate to the video games that it actually blows my mind how they were able to pull this off. Anyway, I am gonna start getting into spoilers now, so if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to get spoiled, I would click off the video right now. So, I do really want to talk about the intro scene, or the prologue, I guess you could call it. I already forgot what the puppet's real name was before she became the puppet, but I just want to, mention how well that scene was done, because I think that really, was very similar to the puppet that we saw from the games, because I think that probably would have been the same thing that the puppet from the video games would have done in that situation. But with that being said, I don't think really the same thing applies to good old Michael Afton, who makes an appearance in the film. So, if you're an OG FNAF fan or you know the lore, you know that he's basically the main character of the video games. But in this one, I'm just gonna flat out say it, he is a straight up supervillain. And I guess you could make some arguments that, yeah, he kind of was a villain for a bit, because he was working for his dad in Sister Location, but then he kind of redeemed himself in the end. I don't know if he's gonna turn into a good guy just like the games, or if he's actually gonna be one of the main villains of this series that they have. But I will admit, I literally felt like screaming when he introduced himself to the game, because I've always assumed that Mike Schmidt and Michael Afton were the same person, and I think this movie just proves that in the games too, Mike Schmidt and Michael Afton are not the same person. Another moment where I got super excited and felt like screaming was when they introduced Circus Baby, just popped up out of nowhere. I don't really know how they're gonna fit that into the whole lore of the movies though, but oh well, I guess we'll find out. And yes, I will be mentioning the post-credit scene. 2 years ago when I saw the first FNAF movie, that's how I've always pictured and imagined the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie post-credit scene would look like. Just Springtrap popping in. And the very second I saw it, I knew right away it was gonna be Springtrap. And I meant to talk about this before, but earlier when Vanessa was in her mental state and metaphorically trying to get away from her dad in the house, that was most likely a reference to the FNAF 4 gameplay, given that there was like countless doors in the hallway, and I really enjoyed that part. And I don't think I have too many things left to talk about the movie other than my final rating. I think overall, I would give this movie an 8.9 out of 10. And with that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed my review here. And so if you want to see more content just like this, or if you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one.